Okay, we're going to talk, I'm going to talk about the zebra chip assessment, that's the regional, and then look at some associated factors in that. And I'll talk about some methodology summary. I do that every year just to refresh. I hope it's not boring. And then I will talk on 2014, the status of zebra chip across the region in 2014. And I'm going to talk about variations in zebra chip and the salid population in South Texas and some associated factors. The reason I'm concentrating in South Texas is that is where all the action is since we started. If you go to north a little bit, there's not much change from year to year. So that's why I'm focusing on South Texas where there is changes over the years. And then I will end up with some general conclusion. So normally what we have is 2 fields in Lower Rio Grande Valley, 2 fields in Paetzold, Alton, Dalhart, Garden City, and then locations in Nebraska. And at each of these locations, we have weather stations where we can monitor changes in temperature. And what we do is, since there is an edge effect, what we found, we do around the edges plots, and then at the center, and we would have 16 to 32 plots per field. Each plot is 20 times 30 meter plots. And then we search, in each plot, we search for symptomatic plants, and this is a very early beginning. And then in some cases, you find really old ones, and then we dig out and verify the tubers for zebra chip symptom. So in 2014, you can see here that per plot, the maximum you get is Lower Rio Grande Valley, about 1 plant infected per plot. That is very, very low. We've never seen that before at all. And then as you go north a little, it will decline a little bit, and we've never found in Alliance, Nebraska this year. That's quite dramatically different from what we used to see. And I've been showing this on and off. This is from 2010 to 2014. You see high, this is South Texas. This is South Texas, that is South Texas, this is South Texas. If you compare these years, this is 2014, you can see that it's no event this year, really. It's very, very low. 2012 was the highest we found. And you could see it now. I'm just emphasizing this up and down, up and down, up and down. That's what I was talking, variation in the South Texas. And if you take that out, these two are Lower Rio Grande Valley, these two are Paetzold, and you could see that there is some kind of a dome-shaped thing going up, 2012, going slowly up, and then going slowly down until this year. And if we change the slide to temperature in the Rio Grande Valley, this is maximum temperature. There's not much change. 2011 to 2013, really it's kind of flat, so the change did not affect maximum temperature. Average a little bit, and you could see that this is quite a curve here. There is quite a bit of change in minimum temperature. And if you try to impose ZC on the maximum temperature, there is some trend, but it doesn't fit just because of this flat thing. The curve doesn't fit. A little bit with average temperature, and quite much better with minimum temperature. If you do a correlation of these, maximum temperature really not significant. There is no relationship with variation with maximum temperature. And average a little better, but still not significant. And here is with R square of 0.1 minimum temperature, which indicates that minimum winter temperature in the Rio Grande Valley is very important. Now, if you go to Paetzold, there is a good curve here, which almost looks like what we saw. Average temperature is a little bit affected. Here I will explain this. In 2010, we did not put up our weather station until March. So we are missing 2 cool temperatures here for January and February. In the future, we're going to try to find some neighboring weather station to substitute this. But here, this, as you see later, this will affect the minimum temperature, just because we had only March. March is normally warmer than February and January. So that is why this is really high. This is only 1 month. And the maximum temperature feel better for that. Minimum temperature a little, but not much. No average. So I'm missing P, but it's 0.15 here. So it's not good. Just because of that, we are missing. And we are confident that we will fix this one, and the minimum temperature would be, we think minimum temperature would be important, even in Paetzold as it is in Rio Grande Valley. Now this is the relationship between positive ceiling numbers and minimum temperature for Rio Grande Valley. There is a very good relationship. The lower the minimum temperature, the lower the positive ceiling numbers are. And this is for Paetzold again. It's not affected by that losing of 2 months. It is quite a good relationship, minimum temperature. So if you look at I said 2012 was the worst. If you look at the difference between 2012 and 2014 over time, you could see that 2012 was really high in total ceiling numbers count, total ceiling number count. So that's why this year it is really very low. And last year I showed counts of positive ceiling before February is related to positive ceiling numbers. This is what but also for Paetzold, the same thing is related, but it was not significant. I'm going to show in Rio Grande Valley. It was not significant just because you had only 4 years. But even though the correlation was high, it was not significant. But look at this year. When we add 1 more cold year, it is highly significant. So whatever you observe before February in Rio Grande Valley, so it affects the disease you get in spring. So observance of a lot of positive ceiling before February, it will end up with a lot of GC in the spring. That's what this is telling us. And this is for Paetzold again. This is a really good relationship before March. So for Rio Grande Valley, it was February. For Paetzold, it was March. There is a good relationship for that. Now some years ago, maybe in 2010, we did I showed this, we did some gross chamber experiment on ceiling population. This is at 81 degrees here. And this is number of adults. This is days after ceiling infestation. You see around 27 or 81, you see a lot of adults reproduction. But if you delay that, if you put that in 21 at 70, the number of adults produced will be delayed. And later at 59, we didn't see for close to 50 days, we didn't see any adults reproduce. So what this tells us is that the minimum temperature in winter temperature in Rio Grande Valley may not affect ceiling, but it will reduce how fast they reproduce. So it will delay. So that is why if you see more ceiling populations before February, it may be warmer then. During warmer periods before February, you're going to get more ceiling, and then you'll get more disease. This is what this is basically telling us. So in conclusion here, winter temperature in South Texas is very critical. The warmer the winter temperature is, the greater the greater the warmer, the greater the risk of the disease is. A minimum temperature with positive silids and with total silids correlated very well. So that also was correlated very well with GC incidence. So what I would finally say that in South Texas, warmer winter temperature is more important. So if you see warmer temperature in the winter, you may look for higher GC. So we're going to expand this to go back to the 2007, 2006 years for Dalhart, and going to look at it if this holds true. And we need quite a bit of help from the growers to give us some data. So we will extend that if winter temperature really affects what is going to happen in the spring. So with that, I will end the talk.